So, Grandma and I went to a Tribeca screening during the film festival for this new Barbara Walters doc that's coming out June
I think
23rd.
is it coming out on Netflix?
Hulu.
Oh, Hulu. Okay.
It's coming out on Hulu June 23rd, and it's Barbara Walters Tell Me Everything. And I thought it was really interesting. There was a lot of conversations about like how journalism has changed throughout the
Oh,
years,
and she was
women's
the
role in the
pioneer. I mean,
space.
she was the pioneer of bringing women
Mhm.
in as serious
Yeah,
anchors.
yeah,
I mean, up until then, it was all frivolous, the weather lady or the cooking
right. Do you
chapters.
remember
I remember
watching
exactly.
and like seeing that shift?
Oh, absolutely, I do, because I was always in news. I'm a news freak,
Yeah,
so I watch the news all the time. Barbara Walters brought something to the TV that was not there before. You all had always had men looking out on the 7 o'clock news,
mhm,
and that was just what we expected. And what changed it was she's very bright. She was very good at her craft, and she somehow got herself the
yeah.
interviews that created the buzz, and the channels the network realized it and started giving her larger and larger spots, and she was very much resented by the anchors, the male anchors,
Yeah, the
which we
doc
saw
kind
in
of
the film.
portrayed her as pushy because you had to work. I think she might have said it. I don't remember who said it, but like you had to
Right.
work 3 times
Well, she
harder
did. I
to
think. Well,
than a man
she
did.
did. She
Right,
had to. She had to prove herself,
right.
and she loved the job. She was what really came out in the documentary.
Mhm.
I thought that was the most significant is she was terrific, and she paved the way for other women,
Yeah.
which was, and she was very good about it. I mean, there were certainly, she guarded her territory very carefully.
Yeah.
Nobody was taking over her spot so fast. And when it gradually happened, she was a little resentful.
Mhm.
But what I took away from the whole documentary was that, so many young people today think they can do everything. And in this documentary, it showed she clearly couldn't do everything. She was
Well,
wonderful in her craft, but she had a terrible personal
but let
side.
me just say, this is an extreme. This is the most successful female
Yes,
journalist in the world, maybe could not be the best mother ever.
right,
But one thing to caveat, a lot of things at play, adopted child, mental health issues,
right.
etc. So, but
No,
I
no, no
think most
question.
people should know, most women should know, like if you want to be like good at your job, you're not like the most famous woman in the
Right.
world. You're good at your job and be a good like mother and wife. That is possible.
It's possible. It's just hard. It gets hard
There's
to do when
sacrifices.
you're at a certain right. That she couldn't make the games or she couldn't get to certain school
Mhm.
projects. This is something that's, it happens. We've discussed this with other people on the show who are married, who have families, and there is something that is a give and take.
Mhm.
So I thought that made it very real on the
Yeah.
camera. But first of all, I loved her hair. She went from
I
the
didn't even
60s
think
to
of
the
that.
70s. Well, I love that because
Yeah.
she was really smart though. She was really really smart. You had to admire her groundbreaking one was between Begin
Yeah.
and
The
oh my
Israeli
God.
prime minister and the
Anwar Sadat.
yeah.
Thank you. I'm having a brain moment. Anwar Sadat. And I remember that interview. That was really unbelievable. And the two men really loved being interviewed by her,
I think
which was
because what was so
fascinating.
unique and we're so used to it now, it's like every interview we see now, but very rarely did you see a world leader or a celebrity being interviewed both about career and personal life.
Personal life, correct. That's what she did. She got into the person's mind,
Mhm.
and she somehow elicited the things that they wouldn't have told the normal anchor.
Mhm.
She was terrific, and she really did her job. And it was I loved I liked it. I
Yeah.
thought it was very interesting and
Mhm.
entertaining.
Yeah. The question also, because journalism has changed so much, you don't need the one Barbara Walters interview to get your story told.
Right.
There's so many different journalists. And with influencers and
Right.
social media, one, you have the ability to tell your own story, just get
Right.
online and do it yourself. Or there's so many people, like you could come on Excuse My Grandma and tell your
Oh, it's
story.
very different.
There's
It's very different.
podcasters. Like, I'm wondering if you think it would have been better off, like, with interviewers the way they were then versus how it kind of looks now.
Well, I don't know if it would be better. I think it was a different time. First of all, people trusted who they saw on the camera.
Mhm.
It started shifting, however, with when Clinton became president and then the other presidents that followed him. Everybody started doubting the media, and the media didn't, when Walter Cronkite got on the screen, because he was really the most relevant, excluding Barbara Walters. He was the man that everybody watched. 80 million people would tune in and listen to him. If he said something, you believed it. And he had a bias, but you really very rarely saw it on screen. Now, no matter what channel you turn on, there's a bias. And so the American public has gotten used to that and knows, I want to hear this, I'll put on this channel. That wasn't the way it was in the late 60s or even in the early 60s. So that's changed. And people will get their news from a podcast or get it from from an influencer who's talking about something, or from X, or from wherever they're getting their news.
Well, like,
it's very different.
Everyone's going to have an opinion.
Correct.
There's like no nonpartisan.
Which is
people.
sad. Which is really sad, because that's what was great, that you didn't really know what they thought. They didn't slant it, so that we really thought maybe they did and we didn't realize. Maybe we were too naive, but I don't think we did. I think they genuinely tried to say the news the way they thought the news was in reality.
Yeah.
But
there's this woman, Emily Sundberg. She's like around my age, and she's having a moment right now. And I was reading an article, and she has like a Substack, and a lot of people go to her for her opinions. And the article was like, "What's it like to be a journalist essentially today?" And she's like, "I don't know if I'm a journalist. Like, I didn't go to journalism school.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm being called a journalist.
Yeah.
Just because I have
a platform.
and these
Yeah.
and she's
Well, they
so
could call
smart,
us.
but
They could call us.
anybody
could
anyone
be
a
called.
journalist,
Exactly.
anyone not a journalist. Like,
Exactly.
it's kind of just
It was very different. It was a different time. You can't compare it. But she was great, and I thought the documentary was very well put together.
agreed.